Hi, I'm Jenny with Roots and Wings Furniture, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to get that really cool black distressed finish on a piece of furniture. You ready to get started? Let's do it. This is the piece I am working on. It is a really pretty dresser, and my client wants it to have a distressed look to match another piece of furniture she already owns. So what I've done so far, this is General Finish's Lamp Black Milk Paint. It did take a couple of coats to get a really nice solid black finish, but I think we've just about got it. We are going to distress some of the edges, and you've seen that beautiful distressed finish. It's black. The honey colored wood shows through the distressing, and then it's got a top coat on it, and it just looks gorgeous. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's really not hard, but there's a few tricks along the way that might be helpful. So that's what we're gonna dig into today. So this piece is completely dry. We're good to go here, and I am going to use 120 grit sandpaper. This is already used. It's helpful to have some sandpaper that you've actually already used a few times. It kind of takes down the grit and doesn't make it quite so sharp, which is what I've got here. I'm gonna put it in my hand, and then we are just gonna hit some of the edges. Now the piece that we're matching is not super distressed, so we are just going to kind of lightly do this and let the wood show through where it wants to. Maybe like up here a little bit. Probably just about like that for that drawer. Here's what I like to think about when we talk about distressing. Where are we naturally hitting the piece? So when you are grabbing the handle, maybe your ring hits this bottom lip here, or maybe it gets some wear and tear along the edges just from the constant use of the drawer. That's kind of what I like to think about distressing to get the most natural look. Now you can dig into some of the pieces, some of the details a little bit more when you've got a really detailed piece. It's completely up to you how much you want to do it, but that's what I think about when I start and then kind of go from there. So that is this drawer. Now the other thing, when you're distressing a dark finish, it's going to get that kind of scratchy look. That's okay. We're going to take care of that here in just a minute. So don't worry, you didn't ruin it. We'll take care of that with top coat. So let's keep going on the distressing, and you can see how I do it. One more little secret about distressing. If you are working on your piece and you find you've got a little drip, or maybe something just kind of passed your notice, you either didn't get a really solid finish on it, or there's might be a little spot, you know what I'm talking about. You can add a little distressing there and it will break up the piece. It'll break up the solid color, so your eye is attracted to the distressing and maybe not where there might be a little imperfection. You can also take it as a good opportunity to sand down any little drips that you may have overlooked in the process. So distressing is super helpful. All right, I'm finished with the distressing, and as I told you, it gets kind of that like scratched up look, which is not desirable at this point. Also, I've noticed that black finish, anytime you even like touch it with your fingers, it gets kind of, I don't know, dusty looking. So we're gonna take care of that right now. All I have is just a damp paper towel. You could use a t-shirt rag, anything like that. We're just gonna clean off the dust, get all those little fingerprints off, get the dust off of there before we start top coating. Don't forget, when you're distressing, if you ever look at your piece and you're like, oh, I just did that way too much, I shouldn't have distressed it right there, or I don't like it, all you do is grab your paintbrush and you can paint right back over the spots that you don't like. So don't be afraid of distressing. It's very easy to fix and make it look exactly the way you want it. All right, for the top coat on this piece, I'm gonna use General Finishes Flat. Make sure you always stir, don't shake your can of top coat. We don't want any extra air bubbles in there. Just stir it up with a popsicle stick. Now, water-based top coat like this is usually pretty white and milky in the can, but it will dry clear. Don't be afraid of that. And I'm gonna use my Purdy paintbrush for this. This is going to add some shine to our black, as well as seal the distressed areas. So we'll take away all that scratchiness. It's gonna seal the wood, really make it pop. For a full supply list of everything you will need to create this awesome finish, check out the description below this video. Couple options here. This piece is honestly so stinking big. I'm doing the drawers in the piece. Otherwise, the drawers would just take up the whole rest of my garage. But it's completely up to you. You can take the drawers out, sit them upright, and do your top coat or your painting that way. It's really up to you and your preference. The door here is going to be a little bit tricky. This is where we're gonna have to really watch for drips, just as it kind of gets in the crevices and then wants to drip back out. So get a nice bit of top coat on there, move it around some. Let it kind of start to dry, and then just come in and grab any drips as they happen. Here's the deal with top coat. Let me tell you the trick, especially on a dark piece. Most people struggle with top coat when they don't use enough. So get enough on there to really get it nice and coated. Move it around with your brush just to give it a nice even layer, and then leave it alone. Let it do its own work of self-leveling. Let it dry. If you miss a spot, or if there's a spot that maybe looks a little bit streaky, you can always come back with a second coat. No big deal, no sanding between coats required. You can just come back and touch up the spots you're not happy with, or if you want some extra durability and shine, give it another top coat just all over the piece. So what I'm gonna have to do here, since these drawers are in the piece, I'm gonna do all the drawer fronts first. Once that's dry, I'm gonna like pop them out a little bit and then kind of go back over the frame of the dresser. That'll make sure I don't miss a spot. But you can see as soon as that top coat hits it, really makes the distressing pop even more. All right, let me top coat the top of the dresser so you can see. Sometimes the technique is a little bit different when you have a long, even surface, and that's really where you want to get a nice, even coat of top coat. So let me show you how I do that. Now here is really where it's important to use a lot. Some of you just gasped. You've got to use enough top coat that you have enough to spread it around. And then this is really where we just let it do its job and self-level as it dries. So we're getting enough on there. And you can see here it's got that milky blue, cloudy kind of finish. That dries clear. So that will completely go away when the piece is dry. Okay, so I get up on the edge here when you're doing the edge, when you're going the opposite way. So you've got top coat all across the top, and we're gonna come across the edge just to check for any drips here and make sure your edge is nice and covered. And then if you get some brush strokes on the top, really lightly with your brush, just come really lightly. Just let it fall off the edge. We're not pushing hardly at all, any top coat, just like that. And again, when you kind of come to your seam in your brush strokes, really lightly, almost you rock back and forth on your feet as you really lightly just move it around with your brush, even out that top coat, and then don't touch it. Leave it alone. Let it do its own thing, and this will be a nice, clear, solid top coat without any streaks, without any brush strokes to be seen. Again, if you get the first one dry and you want to add some more protection, you kind of miss a spot, whatever the case may be, you are free to do another layer of top coat right on top. No sanding between coats required. All right, and that's it. I am going to finish up this piece and let it dry, and I will be back to show you final photos so you can see how easy it really is to get a nice smooth top coat on your black finish, as well as give it that amazing distressed finish over black. So thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out my website, rootsandwingsfurniture.com, for more painting tips and tricks and DIY. Also, subscribe to this channel so that you won't miss a thing. Click the button below.